Make him wait.
Morning, Charlie.
Good morning, Butch.
We're good to go, Judge.
Okay, and welcome everybody to the April 27th meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We appreciate you being with us as always, and for everybody watching on Facebook Live, we appreciate you tuning in as well. We'll begin as we always do with invocation. Please bow with me. Lord Heavenly Father, please watch over this panel as we try to do good things for our community, make decisions to help our neighbors, families, and friends. We ask that you watch over our frontline healthcare workers as they continue to deal with the impacts of COVID. Please watch over our community as we deal with the pandemic, our state, our country, and especially those men and women in uniform and first responders, both here and overseas. We see all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. Well, at least we all.
Thankfully, that is the last time, hopefully, that we'll have to try to coordinate all that chorus over Zoom. We're going to be in live next meeting, but Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Measure McCollum,
Here.
Measure Moran,
Here.
Measure Putman,
Here.
Measure Southern,
Here,
and Measure Berry.
Here.
Thank you. And in your packet, you have the minutes of the April 13th, 2021 fiscal court meeting. After a period of review, I entertain a motion to approve those.
I move we approve the minutes from the April 13th.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Master Moran, second by Master Berry. Any corrections, clarifications, or additions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? We have a Representative Grad with us, Ms. Skylar Stewart. Glad you're here, and you're going to give us an update on Project Horse, which is a major project involving Ellis Park that will include some assistance, both technical and otherwise, from fiscal court. So Skylar, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Judge. So really, I just wanted to give you all an update and let you know some of the specifics that are happening with the project. So this project, Ellis Park is wanting to expand this project, but they cannot because they do not have the sewer capacity currently, and their sewer system is currently in disrepair, so they can't provide adequate wastewater service. So this Project Horse will go underneath the Ohio River and extend sewer from the Kentucky side to the Indiana side, so that they can expand, so Ellis Park can expand. It'll also be a gas line that will burrow underneath the Ohio River and over to the other side. This project, we're going to go for community development block grant funds. The environmental review record has already been completed. I actually completed that last summer when we had started working on the project, but they've had some delays, like working with Ellis Park and getting some gas prices and things like that. So the environmental has been completed. We did not see any issues environmentally, so that's good on our end. You know, people get really concerned about that Indiana bat, so we didn't have any issues with that this time. So the total project cost is approximately 1.7 million. We are going to ask DLG for 500,000 for the block grant for, and that's through economic development funds. And then we also have a local match, which I believe, and Buzzy, you can feel free to correct me if I'm incorrect, but I believe Henderson Water Utility is going to give about 600,000 of that. And then we'll work on the rest of the funding at a later date once we get the application going and in. Blake Edge in our office is currently working on the application with Tom and Buzzy. So Tom Williams at Henderson Water Utility. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have, and just let me know.
Skylar, the immediate responsibility of fiscal court is to be the applicant. All right, Henderson County government will be the CDBG applicant.
Yes, sir. And the reason for that is because the city of Henderson is an entitlement community, so they cannot be the applicant for block grant funds. So it has to be the county, because we're allowed to, this county fiscal court is allowed to apply for these, for this 500,000. So really all that entails is we'll have to do a couple different resolutions for the block grant. I'm trying to think of the last block grant that we did with Henderson County, but it is really not anything out of the ordinary. It's just a resolution to apply. We'll have to do a some other resolutions like we did the Fair Housing Proclamation last month. Once the project is funded, we'll have to do a fair housing resolution just to ensure that, you know, the block grant funds are, you know, not displacing people unfairly. But other than that, the judge will sign off on the application, but that is pretty much it for Henderson County Fiscal Court's responsibility.
So Skylar, the wastewater treatment is going to be treated by Henderson City Waste Department, I mean, the water and sewer.
Yes, Henderson Water Utility.
Okay, and where is the gas going to come from?
Henderson Municipal Gas.
Okay, good. Okay.
Charlie, there's a, we have a service line behind the True Vine Inn. I think
Right.
that's the name of the hotel. So that's where the connection point will be. Now, I think the other thing in support of Skylar, Ellis Park has hired a project manager, and that project manager used to work for their previous construction manager who was in Compass. So the delay in the application process has been gathering information from the former consultants that were working on the boring underneath the river for the water and gas lines, or the sewer line and the gas line. So we've had a delay, but I will say this, in talking with Ellis Park last week, they're forging ahead to get that information so we can revise our application and the dollar figures.
Thank
Sounds-
you, Buzzy.
Any other questions of Skylar or Buzzy on that? I know they're working hard on it. Part of the delay also was the uncertainty about the state approving the continued legal nature of HHR machines that help subsidize Ellis Park's revenue, without which they would not have been able to do any of this and probably would have closed. So the fact that the legislature passed that bill kind of gave the green light to get back on track with this project. And Skylar, obviously bring the resolutions to us as needed. And if there's anything else the county might be able to do, you know, please come back and ask.
Thank you, Judge.
Any other questions of Skylar
No.
or Buzzy? He's been working hard on this as well. Okay, thank you, Skylar. Okay, as Steve Gold mentioned right before we come in, there's been months of back and forth with Deaconess about our ambulance situation, and I really appreciate the hard work Steve, Buzzy, and Don Kelsey put in on this. It was really quite an ordeal in the end, but I think we've reached an agreement. And there are three things we're going to do. Actually, four things. We're going to dissolve our current agreement, which was made with Methodist Hospital. We're going to approve the new provider agreement. We're also going to approve capital equipment leases and building leases. And I hope that you spent your weekend reading through those enlightening and invigorating documents. What I'd like to do is start off with maybe both Steve and Buzzy offering kind of an overview here of the journey we've taken to get here. I start with Buzzy. I assume right at this point that Buzzy is more than ready to be done with this and move on. I know the city is probably going to be voting on this tonight as well. Is that right, Buzzy?
That is correct.
And am I safe to say at this point, Buzzy, you feel like we have a good solid deal?
I do. And I just want to give the court a background of why it has taken so long for us to come to an agreement. And I think y'all are very well aware of some of the questions that we've had of Deaconess, more specifically in response times, not only in the city, but in the county. And that's been the major, I think, hiccup in us getting an agreement. And we feel like at this point in time, we've all agreed to work on that and monitor that on a monthly basis. And I guess the biggest compromise, and I think Steve will chime in, is that we've agreed only to give them a 1-year contract. And with that being said, that if things go well, we can renew that for additional years. But if it does not go well, then we have the right to exit the agreement and solicit proposals from other vendors.
Buzzy, is there a time period we've got to act on this next year?
There is, and I think, I'm gonna let Steve talk about that, but I believe it was November of this year that we need to take a strong look at where we stand. And the other thing that I think everyone needs to be aware of is that Deaconess had to get a certificate of need from the state to run an ambulance service in Henderson. So that's always been a looming issue in our negotiations. And fortunately, the state has been very lenient with Deaconess and the city and county on trying to get the negotiations completed. But Steve, I'll let you talk about the year-long contract.
Yes, just like Buzzy said, there were some performance questions and some performance fidelity questions, wanting to make sure that there was oversight. One of the things that the service agreement does is it requires information sharing and gathering on a pretty frequent basis, so we can keep tabs of things like that. Section 12 of the contract provides that it's a 1-year term and that it's terminable with 120 days prior written notice. So Dawn, Kelsey, and I put on our mutual calendars to take a look at this and circle back with everybody around November, because that's when some decisions would need to be made. The actual termination date of the contract is April 30, 2022. So we would need, a little time there for people to make decisions about whether there would be notice given. But even before that November date, there's other data and meetings that are to occur. There's a quarterly review in Section 6 of the contract to kind of just keep tabs on those things and make sure the citizens are getting the services that they need and what we're paying for.
Buzzy, you mind talking a little bit about the leasing contracts and how that benefits both the city and county?
Yes. As stated, we have a 1-year agreement, and unlike Union County, who in their negotiations with Deaconess, they actually sold all their assets to Deaconess. We believe that it's more important to protect the city and the county that we lease the equipment, which means the rolling stock and any of the accessories that are inside of an ambulance, such as the power cots, etc. So we've recommended that lease agreement. It's a minimal cost. However, Deaconess is fully responsible for the maintenance of those vehicles based upon the condition that they're in today. And we will make those assessments at the end of the contract period to assure that Deaconess has held up the maintenance of that fleet. And then the other thing I think we need to share with you, and I think it's an incentive for Deaconess to do well, is that any future acquisitions of ambulances will be borne by Deaconess and not the city and the county. And as y'all remember, we were buying a new one about every other year at about a cost of $140,000 on average.
Will they carry the insurance too, Buzzy?
The answer to that is, Steve, I'm going to let you talk about that a little bit, because that was another controversial discussion of who covers that. So Steve.
Yes, let me find the exact section here. They will, my understanding is that they will still be to an extent covered under the city's overall policy, but that the Deaconess will have them covered and name both the city and the county as additional insurers.
Y'all done a good job.
Another aspect of this is we get into, I'm sorry, Steve, did you have something else you wanted to add?
I was just going to circle back, and I'm sorry about this, I didn't mention this earlier. On those, on the ambulance service agreement, I would point the court's attention to section 5 that outlines the response times and a corrective action plan and actual penalties if those are not met. And if they're not met for 3 months in a row, it gives us the opportunity to terminate the agreement with notice as well. So that's another way out and another means of trying to ensure performance that was put in there. But it's slightly different than the April 30, 2022 termination. So I want to be clear about that.
Another benefit to city and county with these agreements is, as you well know, in the past, we had to budget for subsidizing our ambulance services, and that was a kind of a moving target, depending on their ability to collect fees or not, and other expenses. And one year we might contribute $50,000 to the ambulance service. Another year we might contribute $150,000. This agreement sets both the city and county's costs when it comes to the ambulance services at $65,000 net. That includes $80,000 we agree to pay, but we get a credit of approximately $15,000 with the lease agreements that we are going to solidify, because we gave them a terrific price and a good deal, and they gave us credit for that. So in the end, $65,000 a piece for the city and county, capped, predictable, and I think that's a real boon. Any other thoughts, Buzzy?
The only other thing, the judge was referring to the lease. That's the lease on the building located on Borax Drive. And we went with a price per square foot for the entire building. And as the judge stated, he indicated the value back to the city and county. It is a triple net lease, so the Deaconess is responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the building. However, I think in the agreement, anything major like a roof, that may revert back to the city and county to pay for that major improvement in the event that something happens.
The city and county share 911 committee that also includes ambulance personnel and first responders. And Buzzy, I think it's our intent to use that committee to help kind of keep the communication up about performance and adherence to the contract, and to keep tabs on how Deaconess is doing, and form back and forth communication. So that's the committee under which that will fall, I believe. If there's anything that it might indicate a problem, we'll report back to court, of course, and work from there. So,
Buzzy, do Deaconess need all that space?
Initially, they did not, But then once they began their operation in Union County and Henderson County, they saw a need to occupy most of that space, because it appears to me that they're going to have their base out of Henderson and not in Evansville.
Okay, we could use some space for the jail's commissary if anything like that became available. We've been sort of looking for that.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know how that might work, but we need some space. So if they had some that they didn't need, we might look at it.
We can evaluate that.
Isn't that right, Amy?
The last comment I would like to make that may be in the back of everyone's mind is, what is Plan B if Plan A does not work? And I will assure all of you that there is a Plan B. I don't feel like probably today is the day to discuss that. I want to give Deaconess every opportunity to succeed and support our local community to the best of their abilities. But I just want to reassure you there is a Plan B.
Thank you, Buzzy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Buzzy? The resolutions we have in your packet regarding these contracts are, for the most part, very long. And I'm wondering if it would be okay to read the summaries on these. Otherwise, Mr. Weason will have quite a bit of reading ahead of him here. Is there any objection to that?
No objection here.
None for me.
Okay, well,
Go ahead.
let's start with the mutual termination agreement. Mr. Weason.
Resolution authorizing the mutual termination of agreement between the city of Henderson, the county of Henderson, and Methodist Health Incorporated, FKA Community United Methodist Hospital, regarding ground ambulance services, and authorizing the county judge executive to execute documents necessary to terminate the agreement.
The motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
We have a
Second.
motion by Master Putman, a second by Master McCollum. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Now we'll go to the provider services agreement.
Resolution approving ambulance service provider agreement by the city of Henderson and Henderson County Fiscal Court with Deaconess EMS LLC of Henderson, Kentucky.
Motion to approve.
Move to accept.
Second.
Second.
A motion by Master Southern, a second by Master Moran. Any questions about that? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Now we'll go to the capital equipment lease agreement.
Resolution approving facility lease agreement and capital equipment lease agreement between Henderson County, the city of Henderson, and Deaconess EMS LLC for use in the provision of ambulance services.
And Judge, to be clear, to save Mr. Weason a little bit, I did combine one resolution to have both the facilities lease and the capital equipment lease. So that resolution that I drafted was for both of those leases.
Okay, we'll treat it as such.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a
Second.
motion by Master McCollum, a second by Master Putman. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much again, everybody. That took a while, but I think we've got a good deal. And as Buzzy said, we want Deaconess to succeed, this both for our community and for their continued interest in working with us in Henderson and Henderson County. So thank you, Buzzy, for joining us.
Thank you. all.
Yeah. Thank you, Buzzy. Thank you,
And thank you,
Buzzy. Thank you,
Steve.
Dawn, for all the work you put in on.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next we have the bid openings for the Roberts Road Bridge, and I will turn that over to Mr. Hubiak.
Morning, Judge, all the magistrates, Morning.
We have
Morning.
one bid opening here for the bridge structure itself. It's from E&H Bridge and Grading Incorporated. Total cost $94,468. And that's delivered to the site.
You characterize that as a good bid, Bill?
Yes, that would be my recommendation, since they're the only bidder in this case, that we award the bid for the structure itself to them so that we can issue a PO and have it fabricated as soon as possible to get it within this budget period.
Is the group that we continued the bid for?
They did not submit a bid. They apparently thought that we were going to supply them with the drawings of a bridge for them to fabricate instead of them doing their own drawings of the structure itself. In the 23 years that I've been a county engineer, we have always bid the bid specs out by the length of the bridge, the width of the bridge, the weight rating on federal highways and KYTC standards with guardrail, and whether it was a straight structure or on a skew, right or left hand, with the degree the skew was on. And we provided them with the information whether we wanted on a spread concrete footer, concrete pile, or steel piling. And that was the only information that we put out there for all the bids. And they supplied us with the drawing of the bridge structure that they were supplying.
And you're satisfied with this then?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Master McCollum, a second by Master Berry. Any other questions? All
So
those in-
I have a question, Bill. So I'm confused. Did they end up supplying us with the drawings, or are you having to do that?
No, this bridge company here supplies the drawing with the structure that meets all the standards, both federal highways and KYTC. The company that wanted it delayed wanted us to give them drawings. We gave them standard drawings from the state of Kentucky, and they decided not to bid the bridge.
Okay, I understand now. All right, thank you.
Now, Tim, isn't this the first bridge that has not been in your district?
Yeah, but it's real close.
Any other questions? We do have a motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, Bill. Good luck getting that bridge built, not in Tim Southard's district.
Thank you, Judge.
Debbie Edwards, I see you are on the Zoom call. I hope you can lean in there. There you go.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
we have underneath that the bid recommendations for the removal and installation of the bridge.
Need approval on those?
Yes, that's a whole different company. We went through two different bid processes with that.
And Bill, can you describe those at all?
Yes, sir. We opened 5 bids on the previous fiscal court meeting, and this is for the contractors to remove the existing structure, construct the head walls for the new structure, place the new structure, and also align the stream channel and put in all bank armament as required. And we had 5 bids. M&G Services out of Marion, Kentucky was $58,600. AA Services of Henderson, Kentucky was $73,400. Galusha Contracting out of Bowling Green was $95,379. M Bowling Incorporated in Henderson, Kentucky was $102,955. And Scott and Murphy Incorporated out of Bowling Green was $115,435. I spoke with several of the references from M&G Services out of Marion, Kentucky, including their judge executive and road superintendent, who inspected and watched them construct a steel deck, steel structured bridge in their county. They had no problems with the company at all. In fact, they had to do some modifications and said the company was ahead of schedule and accommodating to what their needs were on the modifications. The time frame is basically 1 month, weather permitting. That was the same period of time that AA Contracting here in Henderson also submitted on theirs, was a 1 month time, weather permitting. So everything was within the guidelines. So my recommendation would be to take the low bid of M&G Services out of Marion, Kentucky.
So move.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Master McCollum, a second by Master Moran on that recommendation. Any other questions of Bill? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Okay, Debbie, now you're up. Animal control reports.
Yes, sir. I apologize for all the moving around. I don't have a quiet spot here without dogs in the background. But you guys have all the financials. I don't really have a lot to report this month, other than the continuation of finally some training for animal control that is starting in May. It is online. It's not in person anymore, but it's still nationally certified. So we will be starting that in May for one animal control. And I did just hire a third one that hopefully as soon as the background check comes back, we'll be able to start them.
Excellent. Financials look in good shape. I appreciate that.
I think that the availability of getting these animals out faster, even if they go to a rescue, which is a no-kill place that goes directly into a home, is cutting down on all of our food, medical staff, everything. So we're doing big things here. Come and check us out.
Excellent. Any other questions of Debbie? Always enjoy you being with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have detention center reports, and Amy, besides contract talk, we're about to launch into anything else to add? Any updates on the COVID situation? That'd probably be a topic to talk about.
Everyone keep your fingers crossed. We did testing yesterday and the results should be back by noon today. Our numbers are dropping. Our staff's done an excellent job of keeping it contained, especially when the air in the jail's recirculated. So they've been on top of their game.
Amy, have we gotten in the new sterilizers?
We've got the lights. We have our first positive cell that everyone's tested negative, except for one guy that never did test positive and has no antibodies. So that's.
He's the one that's got the relatives in the health.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So they say that it is kind of a norm if you have family that works in the healthcare business. A lot of times you'll have the antibodies, or you'll be immune to it, but you won't have the antibodies. Just a strong immune system. So we'll have an update this afternoon. Once we get the results, then I'll send it out to everyone.
Any other questions on that for Amy? I know we have been working on a medical contract for the detention center. Amy, I believe that is not quite nailed down yet. Is that correct?
The language, I'm pretty sure, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, that they got that straightened out.
We've had the legal side straightened out since, I believe, last Wednesday. There were some operational things that Jayla Brady and the company were talking about, and I believe she got that to us at about 8:45 this morning. we've not had an opportunity to review that operational side, but if there were no changes to the legal side of that, we don't have any questions as to the form and legality of the contract. But the jailer and the company have finalized those operational details that were kind of out there.
Steve, you got a idea how long it'll take to get this finished? Because we probably, I think we run out on what, May the 5th?
May 6th, yes.
So we get this approved, and so we're probably gonna have to have a special meeting.
Well, as far as I know, as long as the jailer is good with all of the operational changes that she and the company made in the last few days, it should be fine. The problem is the fiscal court's not had an opportunity to review it or put pencil to paper with regard to the cost. But from a legal standpoint, we've been done for several days.
There's I'm sorry, Amy, what were you gonna say?
On the operations side, I requested that they specify that it would be for on-site medical care, just to make sure that we're not going to have a lot of telehealth hours or something like that.
Do you believe that by the end of today that you'll probably have that worked out?
Yes, they're actually here today, making some arrangements and interviewing, things like that. So
Amy, are you totally against the telehealth program? I mean, that does help with cost if we can do some of it over the, video systems.
we are doing it right now with COVID. But a lot of things in the jail, they need to actually lay their eyes on and hands and have physical contact. If things are just kind of like standard history and physical and things like that, to gather information, the type of medication they're on, they do use the tablets and communicate until they can get all of the information from the pharmacies and the physicians' offices. Then they'll pull the inmates in to see them.
Okay.
Well, since we have a workshop scheduled Thursday at 3:30, it may offer us an opportunity to call a special session and spend the first 5 minutes taking care of that. If that's enough time, 48 hours, I guess. Kurt, is that enough time to notify about a special called meeting? Does anybody object to that little strategy to get this knocked out?
It's a good idea, Brad. Thank you.
But I want to say that's kind of contingent on making sure that by the end of today, probably we have something that we can send out for the fiscal court to review that's ready to go. So does that seem to be any kind of problem, you think, Amy?
Shouldn't be. I'm watching my email now because one of the things in the contract that we cover on the jail side will lower the overall cost. So,
but all the little operational tweaks can be completed, do you think, today?
those are done.
Okay. All right, so if there are no objections, why don't we make that plan to call a special called meeting at 3:29 on Thursday, and we'll take 5 minutes and have a vote on that, and then we'll launch into the workshop proper. Is that okay? All right. We do have the e-jail contract. And Amy, you want to describe to the court, who got this yesterday, hope everybody's had a chance to peruse it, what e-jail is and what it does for you.
E-jail is the jail management system, and it gathers all of the information that's input by jail staff when people are booked in, or other departments that deal with inmates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The benefit of e-jail over the current system is if someone is transferred to another jail that has e-jail, the information's in the system and they'll be able to log in. We'll provide the access to that specific file, and they'll be able to pull that person over. They'll have their medical records that the inmate provided when they were booked in, the information, and any disciplinary issues and things like that. So it'll be shared between jails.
And does this system also help provide the public information that they need to know that was typically on your website? And this will be the substitute tool for doing that now?
Correct. It will be the same information that was on the website. And also they'll be able to submit job applications and things like that for potential hires for the jail.
And as far as you know, it's ready to launch?
It's ready. He said he has about 2 hours of some information that he needs to pull. And then he said it's ready to go.
To me, the most important piece of this is making sure that the jail tracker data gets put into eJail seamlessly when you make that switch. Feel like that's going to be possible?
He has all the information up until about 3 weeks ago already pulled.
And as far as your budget, this will fit into your budget properly? Is there anything we need to do to accommodate it?
There isn't. I'm actually going to pay for this using the check grant money that is through our inmate phone provider.
And what's the total cost?
It's $14,500, and then it's around $7,000 a year.
Gotcha. Okay.
How many other jails are using it, Amy?
The developer and owner of eJail was actually the original developer and owner of our current jail management system. He's in 20 some of the jails already, and he's got close to 20 other contracts signed.
So it's growing pretty rapidly.
Yes, his reputation as far as the type of person he is and the work that he does, it helps him out. So he's great to work with.
Any other questions about
Thank you.
eJail? You have a resolution to approve this agreement. It's on the back page of contract in your packet. And without any objection, I'll have the clerk read the resolution.
Resolution authorizing Henderson County Jailer to execute agreement with eJail LLC for jail management systems. Whereas Henderson County Jailer has reviewed a proposal for the provision of jail management system software as a service at Henderson County Detention Center. And whereas after considering the jail management system needs of Henderson County Detention Center and the proposal of eJail LLC to provide for such needs, the jailer hereby recommends the services of eJail LLC for the provision of jail management system software as a service at the detention center. And whereas Henderson County Fiscal Court approves the recommendation of Henderson County Jailer that the attached agreement be approved. Now therefore be it resolved that the Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby authorizes Jailer Amy Brady to bind the county to the terms of the attached agreement with eJail LLC for jail management system software as a service, and directs her to execute said agreement on behalf of the county along with any and all other necessary and appropriate documents to require to effectuate the intent thereof.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Master McCollum, a second by Master Putman. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, and we'll look forward to getting that medical contract in the mail and getting it out to all the magistrates so we can have that done by Thursday, hopefully, Amy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bernice says, County Clerk's report, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good to see you. I have the report for excess fees for the month of March 2021. The fees are $194,042.49, making a total remitted to the county for March 2021, $270,583.31. So compared to March of last year, we are remitting $100,000 more dollars than we did this same month in 2020. So that's awesome news. And also the quarterly, also did that report today. And again, quarterly for me is January through March. It's not fiscal like it is for the county. We have to turn these reports into state. So our quarterly amounts for January and February, March of this year, excess fees $396,597.40, with the total paid to the county for January, February, and March of this year is $545,006.44.
And the increase is mostly due to state level increases in fees, right, that you collect.
Correct, but we have had an increase in vehicle transfers and, you know, everything. I'm sure you've seen in the news, everybody's buying vehicles these days. So I attribute some of it to that, but we've been on the recording side very busy as well. So we've had increases in both departments.
Certainly good for revenue, but I hope those increased car sales are not coming from stimulus or aid payments. Just saying. I'm sorry, Charlie, you said?
I just was wanting to make a motion to approve or accept.
Yeah.
Second.
We have a motion from Magistrate McCollum, second from Magistrate Putman. Not to disparage anyone, I just hope all the people who receive COVID CARES Act checks, use them wisely. I think we all agree. So I have a motion and a second. Any other questions of Renisa? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, Renisa. Appreciate it. Mr. Gold, your report.
Judge, I gave Mr. Weason 2 checks today, flow through from the city in the amount of $458.33, and jail fees collected in the amount of $2,087.96 for a total today of $2,546.29, and bringing the fiscal year total to date to $132,405.79.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Master McCollum, second by Master Moran. Any other
Escrow account.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Steve. Some exciting news, some news that really we should be happy about, and Jailer Brady should be very proud of, is that we are going to, with the court's approval, move ahead with defeasing her kitchen bond, which will mean, once that's complete, that the county has no current bond payments on its books, which is quite a thing. And consulting with Jailer Brady, one of the things she did want to accomplish was to get the jail debt-free, and this does that. And we have a resolution moving forward on that, which is the way we get the process started from our bond counsel. This can be completed once it goes through all the steps required, completed on June 29th, which will mean it will be taken care of in this fiscal year, providing a clean slate for next fiscal year, which is terrific. And I think the jailer should be applauded for being able to run her jail in such a fashion that she had the reserves to do this. And so good on you, Amy. And unless anybody has anything else to add, we can read the resolution, which is the first step in this whole process. Ms. Ryder, I'm sorry, Mr. Weason.
Resolution of the Fiscal Court of the County of Henderson, Kentucky, authorizing the execution of an escrow agreement to provide for the cash defeasance of the outstanding County of Henderson, Kentucky General Obligation Public Project Bond Series 2017, authorizing and ratifying the purchase of certain government securities to provide sufficient funds to defease said bonds, and the taking of any other necessary action to effectuate the purposes of this resolution thereof. Whereas the County of Henderson, Kentucky, the county issued its County of Henderson, Kentucky General Obligation Public Project Bond Series 2017, the Series 2017 bonds, to finance a portion of the costs of the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipment of improvements to the Henderson County Detention Facility. Whereas the county, with the assistance of its financial advisor, Compass Municipal Advisors LLC, determined that it is in the best interest of the county to defease the outstanding Series 2017 bonds by using cash, the majority of such cash being used to purchase certain United States Treasury securities, state and local government series, the government securities. Whereas in order to take advantage of the current market rates and to purchase the government securities before the suspension of the program, the county hereby authorizes the subscription of the government securities which are to be purchased on or about June 29, 2021. Whereas together an initial deposit of cash, the government securities will be placed into an escrow fund for the timely payment of the principal and interest on the Series 2017 bonds accruing from March 1st, 2021 to and including March 1st, 2027. And whereas to provide for the proper segregation and maintenance of funds, the county desires to enter into an escrow agreement, with Old National Bank, Evansville, Indiana, as escrow agent, the escrow agent. Now therefore be it resolved by the fiscal court of the county of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. That the county shall be and is authorized to enter into and execute an agreement with the escrow agent to provide for the timely payment of the principal and interest of the Series 2017 bonds accruing from March 1st, 2021 to and including March 1st, 2027. 2, the county authorizes and ratifies the purchase of government securities by the financial advisor Rubin and Hayes or any others or such other individual or individuals authorized to act on behalf of the county to provide sufficient funds for the defeasance of the Series 2017 bonds. That the county judge executive, the fiscal court clerk, and the appropriate officers of the county are hereby authorized, requested, and directed to execute any and all and further instruments to take all other appropriate legal action as may be deemed reasonably necessary or desirable to carry out the plan of financing represented by the instruments referred to above, with a view towards compliance with all applicable Kentucky and federal statutes and court decisions. That all orders, resolutions, motions, parts thereof, in conflict herein are hereby repealed, and this resolution shall take effect and be enforced immediately after its passage, approval, and publication. Introduced, read, and adopted by the Henderson County Fiscal Court of Henderson, Kentucky, at a duly convened meeting held April 27, 2021.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move we approve.
Second.
Motion by Master Moran, second by Master McCullum. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you and congratulations again, Amy. That's a big accomplishment right there. Appreciate that very much. Now, the next step is to amend in those funds on Amy's reserve so that we can begin to move them into the escrow account we just moved forward with. And so that I'll turn it over to Brenda Ryder.
This is the first reading of budget amendment number 4. This is amending into the jail fund from jail fund prior carryover, increasing the receipts as well as increasing the expenditure side of the jail fund jail debt service. The amount being $1,510,000. And this is for transferring the revenues from prior year carryover to satisfy the bond defeasance of the 2017 jail series bond.
Any questions?
Move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion by Master Putman, a second by Master Southern, I believe. And any other questions of Brenda Ryder? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we're underway that way. Congratulations again, and thank you, Brenda. And we'll go on to regular fund transfers.
The fund transfers are as presented, and this is redistributing appropriations within the existing budget, fiscal year's budget. Also, at the bottom of the sheet, you will see transferring the appropriation as well as the cash of the second appropriation of the CARES funding reimbursement. And this is transferring these from the federal grants fund to the general fund.
I'll elaborate on that last part a little bit. CARES Act money that we received right at the end of the calendar year was a little over $2 million. A little over 1 million of that was to reimburse the jail for costs it incurred dealing with COVID, and we moved that money over to the jail earlier this year. 500,000 of the remaining, a little over 500,000, was in our general fund. That's where it was initially deposited. Another 500,000 change were deposited into federal grants because at the time that was the instruction for Treasurer Ryder from DLG, if I'm not mistaken, but of course, our ultimate goal was to pull that into the general fund to use to cover our expenses, ongoing expenses relating to COVID. So this is moving the money from federal grants into the general fund so we can use them as we need. So is that good characterization there, Treasurer Ryder?
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions about transfers? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Master Southard. I'll give Keith Berry the second, just because he's did get him on the record.
Right.
Any other questions about transfers? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. And claims.
These are your bank balances after paying claims today. Your day-to-day appropriation line items should be at approximately 83%. I do have additional claims from the jail fund to Axon Enterprises Incorporated in the amount of $2,361.60. This is for taser cartridges and is to come from the Sheriff's Office Supply Appropriation line. To on-duty depot in the amount of $2,905. This is for 2 invoices for vehicle equipment installation and is to come from the Sheriff's Vehicles Appropriation line. To Keisler's Police Supply in the amount of $1,089. This is for ammunition and is to come from the Sheriff's Ammunition Appropriation line. From the Road Fund to the City of Henderson, $104,741.08. This is for 2 invoices for the Ohio Drive project and is for the city gas department reimbursement. And this is to come from the Road Fund New Machinery Equipment Appropriation line. From the Jail Fund to KKHB and Ziegler LLP attorneys in the amount of $1,320. This is for review of inmate health insurance policy and procedure manuals and is to come from the jail fund staff training appropriation line. That is all the additional claims.
I make a motion to pay the claims.
If I could, did the first thing you say, Brenda, for the first fund, did you say jail fund for those first items?
I'm sorry,
Accidentally.
the first 3 are from the general fund. The second one or the next was road fund and then the last was jail fund.
Thank you.
Sorry.
We have a motion by Master Putnam,
Second.
second by Master McCullum. Just one note, Brenda Ryder noted that we should be at about approximately 83% of budget at this point. General fund right now sits at 65% of expenditures, which obviously is very good. Of course, COVID has had an impact on that, of course, but it's still great to see that kind of discipline. And the overall budget is at 61.8%. 0.83%. So we're tracking well ahead on expenses. And we've also reached the point in the year that I always like to celebrate a little bit, not counting any grants related to COVID, anything like that, any pass-through monies like that. We've now collected more revenue in the general fund than we budgeted. So we are over budgeted in revenue. And, I always like to, it always makes me feel good when we cover our revenue projection. So it always makes me feel a little bit more comfort. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. I noticed that our EMA director, Kenny Garrett, has popped on the call. And Kenny, would you mind giving the court a quick briefing on the COVID clinic that's going to be opening up at the extension office and the mobile clinics that might be utilized from there?
Sure, no problem. Good morning, everybody.
Good
I'm
morning.
out mobile myself this morning, trying to organize generators and everything else that we've got going on for this thing. So I apologize for being late, but anyway, we're here. I've also got Pat Hardesty with me, our regional director for KYEM. So any questions we might have that I can't answer, we'll get him to answer those. But the site is pretty much set up. We're going to do a kind of a dry run walkthrough this afternoon. Tomorrow, we're actually going to do some vaccinations for first responders and people like that. And then come Thursday morning, we'll actually go live around 10 a.m. and that'll go until 6 p.m. Through Saturday. And then starting next week, we'll run it from Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now that'll be the site out at the UK Extension Office location. They're on the outer 2nd Street or Amazon Road. So in addition to that, Wild Health has contracted with the state to send mobile vans or pickup trucks or whatever out to 12 adjacent counties in Kentucky to offer up these vaccinations to the general public from a mobile perspective. And then we've also enlisted some of our volunteer and paid EMTs that are locally in Henderson and throughout the area that have stepped on board to actually go and assist in those areas that they know. So we've got some McLean County EMTs, some Webster County EMTs, and they're going to go out and help these wild health folks make sure that they know where they're going and they know their communities. So that's going to also be happening at the same time that the regular site vaccinations will be going on. We've got message boards set up now on 2nd Street, and we're setting one up at 2nd and Green to catch all the morning traffic going through town, to give them the address and the dates and times on when this site will be open. So try to catch everybody we can. FEMA has talked to me this morning, and they're going to provide about 2,000 flyers for us to put out and about around the area. We'll saturate social media and everything and try to get the word out as best we can for the 12 counties that this is going to cover. So does anybody have any questions?
Kenny, I know that there is probably going to be a media blitz about this. There already has been a little bit of one, but I'm sure that education about availability, especially the mobile site schedule, will be important for people. I assume that there's going to be even more communications coming out as we go on with this.
That's correct. The governor is supposed to actually make that announcement on Thursday as far as the sites, the mobile sites where those vans will be going. So we're waiting on that. And then we may hear more tomorrow from the governor as well. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, as soon as we have that information, we'll put it out in mass quantities through the city and the county.
I think it's important to note, and Beth Smith wrote yesterday, I think, about this development, and the fact that our county still has a fairly low level of vaccinations for our adult populations. I think it's 30%. Some instances I've seen even less than that. And we really need to encourage our friends and neighbors to get vaccinated. I know that for some people it's a question. There are some health concerns that may or may not be legitimate, but in the end, the more people that get vaccinated, the better chance we have of truly getting back to normal and developing that kind of herd immunity that will help us not only now, but in the future. So anything any of us can do, please encourage people to get vaccinated. Please do that. And if any of your team members, for those department heads who are watching, if any of your team members haven't gotten vaccinations yet, this is a great way to get that done. And Kenny, one of the advantages here is these are all walk-up clinics. You don't have to schedule appointments in advance, correct?
That's right. They're walk-in, and you can also make an appointment. So they'll do either or, but it is a walk-in clinic.
Hopefully that ease of use will break down any barriers people have to getting vaccines. So. And
Kenny,
these are all free.
Email me those, the flyer. I can put some out, and I see a lot of people, so I'll get some hung up and get some flyers out here.
Well, they're giving me 2,000, so I will bring you some copies.
Okay.
Excellent. Kenny, I got word from the airport yesterday that there was going to be a mobile unit in the parking lot of the airport. Is that correct?
I haven't heard that yet. FEMA and Wild Health haven't released those locations yet, so that's news to me, but I understand we're waiting for the governor to release that.
Yeah, well, I won't announce that officially. That is merely a possibility. And speaking of the governor, he will be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. To have a bit of a press availability on the establishment of the clinic at the extension office. Anybody who'd like to attend, I'm sure is welcome to attend from Fiscal Court. So hopefully his presence here will help publicize the availability of those clinics. Anything else, Kenny?
No, this is an opportunity though for Henderson to really step up. We've got, this is one of 2 sites in the entire Commonwealth, and the other one is in Eastern Kentucky. So to have FEMA and the federal government in here helping do this is something that I just hope that everybody who wants to get the vaccine, and the governor has set those goals for us to try to meet, and once we meet those goals, I feel confident that we can start getting back to normal. So it's really important to do that.
Yesterday, Kenny said that organizers of the clinic had inquired into the provision of snacks for the crews that'll be manning these locations, especially the one at Zion Road. And it's going to be 2 months that they're going to be doing this constantly, right? Every day. And so I encourage Kenny to provide those as he sees fit out of his supplies line item. But Kenny, I will say there's nothing to stop you from asking the city to kind of go halvesies with us on that, or provide stuff directly. So feel free. But I think from our standpoint at the county, whatever they need to make this successful, it's within our budget. We should do it. So.
I'll take care of that.
Okay.
Hey, Kenny, what type of shot are they giving? Do you know?
Right now, they're saying it's going to be the Pfizer vaccine, and unofficially, I've heard J&J, but that's later on in the event. So at this point, it's Pfizer.
So they'll be open long enough for them to be able to get both shots?
Yes, that's why it's going to last between 6 and 8 weeks. They can get the first shot, and then they'll schedule them for the second shot, and they'll be able to come back and get the second shot.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions of Kenny? Thank you very much, Ken. Please stay in touch.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We also have coroner with us, Bruce Farmer. Any news from your office?
We are talking with Deaconess again about the lease. They talked with Mr. Gold. They haven't talked to me, and they're not returning my phone calls right now. We started out on funny season that tracked down my first deer bones of the year. Saturday, we got a call from the sheriff's department that somebody hiking had found some bones. So went out through a muddy field and ended up being deer bones. We were able to get it confirmed real quick through our medical examiner. But we're staying pretty busy. Our count's up ahead of last year's again, and we're working on that.
Thank you. Hang around after the meeting and we'll discuss the lease some more, if you don't mind. David Crafton from Sheriff's Department, anything you want to add? Any news?
Well, we've got one back from the academy not too long ago that is in field training right now, and we have two that just gone into the academy. And so we're anxiously awaiting them to return and put them to work.
Excellent, excellent. That is good news. Did I miss anyone there in the ante room, for want of a better term?
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have our spring cleanup date set. We're going to start with Carden and Smith Mills area for May 14th and 15th. That's Friday and Saturday, 8 to 4. At Niagara, Roberts, and Cairo, May 21st and 22nd. Zion and Bluff City. Hedwardsville will go to either Zion or Bluff City, June 4th and 5th. Spotsville and Basket, June 18th and 19th. And Bills and Reed, also the same date. There will be a list as far as the locations. Most will be the volunteer fire departments, except for Bills and Reed will be Highway 811 at KG Store. By KG Store, the open field there where it was located last year before the railroad track. Dave Cheney's property there. He has volunteered that again. Spotsville will be the boat ramp this year because the parking lot at the volunteer fire department is too small. Bluff City will be Fairview Baptist Church. At Zion, it will be Zion Baptist Church, their back parking lot. Cairo will be the volunteer fire department. Roberts will be Roberts City Hall, their parking lot. Niagara, volunteer fire department. Smith Mills, volunteer fire department. Carden, volunteer fire department. As I said, each day, Friday and Saturday, 8 to 4. Containers will be pulled at the end of both days. They will be manned. And driver's license and plates will be checked as needed to make sure Henderson County residents are only taking advantage of the spring cleanup this year. We will also have a tire collection event that is paid for by the state on June 17th, 18th, and 19th. The times will be 8 to 3, June 17th and 18th. The 19th Saturday is 8 to 12, and the location will be at the Henderson County Road Department. And we have a mini sweep, river mini sweep this year, and the location will be at the downtown riverfront. And that is
We lost the audio there from that room. Anybody hit the wrong button?
No.
Okay.
We're
Sorry. Okay, Nancy, so please solidify all those dates, times, places, and get it to Beth and TV stations. And if we can help spread the word, certainly we will. Just want to make sure I understood you say that all the locations for the spring cleanups have been set, right? You said that?
yes.
Okay, good. And to reiterate, they will be manned, they will be monitored.
Yes.
And
Yes.
something I learned the hard way last year when we first did this, so I'm glad we're making that
Right.
correction.
Well, and all the containers will be pulled at the end of each day That way, overnight, if anyone were to dump, it'll be on the ground. So there's no containers for them to dump. And of course, that's,
Hopefully that'll
They should-
discourage dumping after hours. Never know.
yeah. You never know.
Okay.
Never know.
Our ongoing efforts to help the county get cleaner. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Thank you, Nancy.
So
Any other
our
questions
tire
on that?
collection event,
Hmm.
that is, that's our 3-year tire collection event that we have here.
Okay. And those are always an issue.
And when is that, the tire collection?
June 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Okay.
And that'll be at the road department.
And that's kind of a no questions asked thing, right? Just show up, bring your tires.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions of Nancy? It could be a busy May for Nancy.
Yes. May and June. Busy.
Okay. Thank you all. Appreciate it. We'll go around for good of the county.
Brad,
Sure.
the engineer needs information. Bill Hubiak's raising his hand.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Judge. I have a position change at the Henderson County Road Department. I need approval from the fiscal court. We are changing Mr. Glenn Cummings. Mr. Glenn Cummings from grade all operator, heavy equipment operator to road supervisor position. He has been training for the last several months in this position. We're going to bring him in and he'll be under a 6-month probationary period in this position. There is already a line item for that position and he will be brought in at a lower number. And then at the end of the 6 months, which will be in next year's budget, if he continues to progress, then we have the opportunity to bring him up to the full rate of pay.
Gotcha. And good luck to Glenn. So
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Master McCollum, second by Master Perry. Any questions of Bill? All those in favor say aye.
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 Have you lost it?
Any opposed?
I'm back on. I'm back on.
Thank you. And if you get a chance, go meet Glenn. Good guy and make sure he knows your name, faces. Good man. Good man. Been with us a while.
I will bring the fiscal court to next meeting and introduce him. Most of the magistrates have already met him because we've been driving around looking at the roads and different things together and different problems that each of them have had. So, but I will bring him into fiscal court our next live meeting.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay. Clear to go to good of the county here? Not missing anybody raising their hand? Okay, Master Pubman, want to lead us off?
Apologize for that hiccup. I lost the signal and I just got back with you. So I did pick up on Nancy's cleanup details. But the judge, all's good in the fourth and thank you.
Butch, Master Moran.
All's good in the second. I encourage everybody to enjoy this beautiful weather and I hope it makes everybody have a positive attitude and want to go out there and get a vaccination and help clean up the county. Thank you.
Good deal. Thank you. Master McCollum.
Amy, on the, I saw we paid the lawyer's fee. Do we have our jail procedures manuals for us to go over yet?
Actually just got this in the mail. I haven't reviewed it yet. I just received it.
Okay.
And
Can you get those to Brad then for us to get everybody a copy and then we can take a look at it?
Yeah, she asked that I get in touch with her towards the end of the week and go over some of the changes that she suggested with the policies that were outdated. And I said it'll be
okay.
Any day after Wednesday is good.
Okay, just sometime before the next court would be fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. the other thing, I've got a couple of things. I owe Brad an apology, and I've just talked to Steve Gold this morning through text messaging, and evidently I was under a false impression that the fiscal court had the responsibility to approve raises made between the times that we do the budget and when the time that we approve the employees in January. So obviously I was in the misunderstanding. It's my understanding now, Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong. We set the maximum budget our salaries in each of the fee offices, the sheriff and the clerks, and then they can raise it as they see fit as long as they don't go over that number. Is that correct?
That is my understanding, that is both DLG and Keiko's interpretation of that. And I believe Brenda has previously confirmed that that's the auditor's belief of that. When it comes to the fee offices, now when it comes to the non-fee offices, and again, those fee offices under the statutes of the county clerk and the sheriff. When it comes to the non-fee offices, you're correct. Those raises, the statute says that the fiscal court has to set the salary and appoint the officials. So when there is a hire, you approve a hire. When there is you have to set the salary. So when there are changes in that salary, you also have to approve those changes.
I just evidently I misunderstood and thought that it was our responsibility, and I apologize to everybody involved, and especially Brad. What I do see as a possible flaw that I can tell you that has happened in the past is where towards the end of a fiscal year, you give raises that are gonna, if you had those raises for the total year, would put it out of budget. I think that probably needs to be corrected, maybe by a resolution, amending the fee pooling thing would be, I guess, would be what it would be on. Whereas that they have the right to do that as long as it doesn't, if that raise were given for a full 12-year period, it should not take them above their amount of money that they've been approved for the salaries. Would that be correct?
I think I know what you're saying, and I think that could be an amendment to the fee pooling arrangement. But really, you might not even have to amend the fee pooling. You might be able to just do that through the budget. You know, if there's going to be a budgeted amount, and that amount's not going to be gone over, but if there's going to be a presumed increase in the next budget, and you observe that something like that was going on, the fiscal court could just not increase that payroll line item for that department that is taking that, action that's considered problematic. But it could be done either way.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that we're doing the proper procedures. That's all I want to do. So I'll say, that's all I'll say about that. I would also maybe like to go back next time and review the consent agenda. And I would also like to maybe set some guidelines. For 24 years, when I was county attorney, any magistrate could ask to have something put on the budget on the agenda, if they did it before Friday. They had to do it by Thursday, and give the judge a chance to look at it. And then if he didn't think it was the right time to do it, he could contact the magistrate, hey, would you put that off or whatever. But I think that we ought to be able to bring things up, and I'd just like to consider it where we have a right to put something on the agenda to discuss if we want to, rather than having to do everything like we're doing right now, where I'm doing it in good of the county. I'd rather have things on the agenda where everybody knows it's coming up, and rather than what I'm doing. Just a thought.
All done? Is that it?
Yeah. All's good. All my roads are good. And Bill, you don't have to ride with me around my roads.
Deal. Astrid Southern?
I'm gonna get on my garbage rant again. Our roads are terrible with trash and litter. It's my hat's off to Nancy. She's been coming out, and I don't know, maybe it's just my district, but it seems like I keep her busy picking up trash off the side of the road. And
Well,
it's
if you and Keith Berry would quit throwing trash out on the road for me to pick up, I wouldn't have to come out.
She's got a job though.
it's sad that you can't drive down a road without a couch laying on the side of the road or just trash in general. And I would like to put everybody that throws a candy wrapper out in jail, but it don't work that way. And I know you got to catch them, but I wish we just take a little bit of pride in our county and clean it up, make it look better, and make people proud to come here and visit our county. It's just it's really aggravating. It really is. And again, my hat's off to Nancy, because she never, well, she complains, but she don't hesitate. She don't hesitate getting it picked up, and I appreciate it. I very much do. Other than that, all's good in District 3.
Mr.
Thank
Southern,
you.
I completely agree both on your frustration and on Nancy's efforts to try to help in some way. But right now, I'm afraid it's like trying to hold back the waves on a beach. I mean, we're fighting with one hand tied behind our back because of COVID and the jail's inability to be able to have work crews. It's not good. And we keep trying, but I think it's going to be a while before we're able to catch up on all that. Not without lack of effort, though. And I think the best thing we can do, and Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong, just report what you can if you see it, especially if it's something like a couch, something big. We may be able to go get that. Cups on the side of the road. I just don't understand people who do that. Never have. But, losing effort.
A lot of it's household. They can take it for free.
Yep. Okay, Master Barry.
Well, thanks, Tim. You just stole my speech there. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. Since you congratulated Nancy, I will too. But I want to talk about the jailer and her crews. That I've come to realize that how important they were, because I've had more calls on trash or when they were going to pick up trash again than anything else in my district. And as Amy knows, I called her yesterday.
I agree.
And I knew they couldn't do it, but I'm telling you, those people that pick up trash from the jail, they are invaluable. And I'll be so glad, Amy, when that can be started again. And I know that's not, you don't control that right now, but I think COVID does. But when they can get back out, I think our roads are going to look a whole lot better, because you just can't believe the people that have called me about trash on the roads. So with that,
same here, Keith.
Tim, I'll take some of your blacktop if you got any to give away this year. But other than that, hey, in District 1, we're pretty good.
Well, it's not just the trash though, but what about the mowing?
Well, the mowing, everything the jail did. I had a call yesterday about mowing the clover leaf. I want to know if the jail was going to do that again.
The clover leaf is looking.
So, Amy, your guy is great. Everybody does a great job, but I mean, you really do. It's beneficial so much. Thank you.
It's a great point by Master Barry. One thing I want to clarify for everybody watching this who might read Beth's account of this is, there's been an offer by some groups to go out and pick up trash, and that's terrific. I'm glad they're thinking of it, but sometimes it's not as simple as that, especially if they want to do it along a busy state road or a busy county road. Boy Scouts putting trash along 60 is a noble thing, but it's also a huge liability and potentially very dangerous. And as Nancy had, first row view to, reaching in and grabbing bags of garbage with a bare hand can be problematic depending on what's in that bag. And if you have children doing it, or even just well-meaning citizens, that can be dangerous as well. So sometimes it's not as easy as just asking all the churches to take a stretch of road, for example. And I'm not wrong in anything I'm saying here, am I, Nancy?
No, you're not. We can have adult sign releases, but that would be Steve Gold's call on. Still, I don't know if sign a release would cover the county if something were to happen. Really, I don't know.
I'm not sure we want to take that risk, And,
there's besides traffic, you have the chemicals that could be in the garbage. There's the hypodermic needles. There's glass. There's all kinds of things.
And when road crews from the jail went out, they're supervised and they're given a little bit of training and heads up, and they have the ability to, wave down traffic a bit when they're on the roadside. Unlike just volunteer groups who may not really understand what they need to do to make it safe. So I've gotten contacted by some groups who want to go out and help. Again, it's not as easy as that, and I'll keep referring them to Nancy's office, but everybody's frustrated by this trash problem, and a lot of people want to pitch in, but there's some other considerations there. With all that being said, Mr. Gold.
Those things are good in the county attorney's office. The fact we've been able to get some of these larger contract projects taken care of is a big relief for us on the county side. On the prosecution side, we had a bit of a ignominious record set last night. Traffic court went until 12:04 a.m., which is really stressful and taxing on our staff. So again, to everybody, if and when you do see folks in our office, please give them a pat on the back. I always say that like those old TV commercials that BASF had, they used to say, we don't make the things you use, we make the things you use better. We're happy to kind of play that role for the county with regard to assisting different agencies with contracts and things like that. And I'm very, very happy to do that. Our staff is, a lot of times fiscal court may not see them and what they do because they're in their offices doing research and things like that. But I particularly want to thank Kyle Evans and Bobby Norris for all the additional help they've done on all these contracts out there lately. Bobby was pretty much embedded out at the jail for the last several weeks. I think the jailer's going to book him in at some point if he keeps coming out there. But we've been really happy to help with all that and help see some of these projects to completion. So just very, very proud of the team we have here and proud to be part of the team that's Henderson County.
Steve, if y'all started a night court, or was that from 1:30 till midnight?
That was from 1:30 until midnight, Judge.
Holy.
Or, sorry, Magistrate McCall.
Oh.
My mind's still in traffic court, but in the traffic court judge. But yes, that very, very taxing on the staff, like I said. And people aren't seeing their kids and families. And I've joked somewhat half-heartedly and somewhat half-joked that my next attorney hire, if and when there's an opening, will have to be a second shift attorney.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gold. I know you've been working hard. Appreciate it. And your team. Met yesterday with Finance Committee, and in addition to all the normal functions, I gave them a briefing, kind of a preview of what we're going to be talking about in the workshop on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. I think we have a good budget planned, or at least a good budget to begin the discussion. And again, that's going to be at 3:30 on Thursday. It will be on Facebook Live for the public to watch. So please make your plans, and look forward to finishing this year in a strong way fiscally, even with COVID concerns, and then making a plan for a solid year next year once again. And so bring your thinking caps on Thursday. And that is all I have. Thank you for all your hard work, everybody, today. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Master McCollum, a second by Master Putman. All those in favor can leave. Adios.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day, everybody.
See y'all.